So, you're in your 30s. This is the decade where life just kind of throws everything at you all at once, isn't it? One minute you're celebrating a nice little pay bump, and the next, you're looking at a mortgage application that looks like a novel. Your bank account is getting pulled in what feels like 100 different directions. It's really easy to just stop and think, how does anyone actually afford to be an adult? Well, let's break down the major money milestones you should be aiming for in this absolutely critical decade.
If you're ready to stack cash and upgrade your money mindset, hit that subscribe button. I break down proven wealth tactics for modern success every week. And trust me, your bank account can't afford to miss what comes next.
Wow, does that hit home or what? Everyone says your 20s are for figuring things out, but your 30s? That's when you feel that clock start ticking a little louder. That's when you realize the foundation for the rest of your life, it needs to get solid, and it needs to get solid now. And this is exactly why it matters so much. This isn't just about getting through the month. No, the choices you're making with your money right now have this massive, outsized impact. They're pretty much going to determine whether your 50s and 60s are spent chilling out and enjoying life or scrambling and stressing about money. The stakes are really that high. Okay, so to make sure you're on the right track, we're going to start with the first set of milestones. I want you to think of these as building your own personal financial fortress. These are the defensive moves, the ones that protect you from all the crazy curveballs life is bound to throw your way.
First things first, the biggest milestone you can possibly hit, getting to zero on all consumer debt. Seriously, your 30s are your prime earning years, and the absolute last thing you want is debt acting like an anchor, just dragging down every single dollar you work so hard for. I'm talking credit cards, personal loans, car payments, all of it. It's gotta go. And if you don't think it's a big deal, let's just put a number on it. Let's say you're paying, $1,000 a month combined on a car loan and some credit card debt. That's $12,000 a year. Over the decade, that's $120,000 of your money that could have been building your wealth, but instead, it was building someone else's. And that number doesn't even touch the investment growth you missed out on. It's huge.
Okay, next up, your credit score. We're not just aiming for good, we're aiming for excellent. We're talking 800 plus. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm trying to get out of debt. Why do I care about my credit score? Well, because for the really big, important purchases in life, like a house, that three-digit number determines how much you're actually going to pay. So check this out. Let's look at a pretty typical mortgage, say $400,000. With that excellent 800 plus score, you might get an interest rate around 6.5%. But with a score that's just a little bit worse, not even bad, just good, you could be looking at 7%, a half a percent. It doesn't really sound like that big of a deal, does it? Wrong. That tiny little 0.5% difference adds up to nearly $47,000 in extra interest payments over the life of that loan. Let that sink in. 47 grand for the exact same house, all because of a few points on a credit score. It's insane. All right, the last of our defensive moves, your emergency fund. Back in your 20s, the advice was probably 3 to 6 months of expenses. But in your 30s, life just gets more complicated, right? The potential emergencies get bigger and way more expensive. A water heater explodes, a kid needs braces, you name it. You need a bigger cushion. So now, the goal is a bulletproof 6 to 12 months of living expenses, sitting safe in a high-yield savings account. Okay, our defenses are officially in place. The fortress is built. Now it's time to go on offense. With that solid foundation set, this next set of milestones is all about proactively, aggressively growing your wealth for the long term. This is the fun part. So, here's the big benchmark for your 30s. The goal to have in your sights. By the time you blow out the candles on your 40th birthday cake, a really good rule of thumb is to have 3 times your annual salary saved up for retirement. This is the number that really starts to unlock the incredible power of compounding. And what does that actually look like in real numbers? Well, based on the average income for a 40-year-old, we're talking roughly $186,000 saved for retirement. Now listen, I know that might sound like a massive, intimidating number, but remember, it's a target. It's something to actively work towards over the entire decade. And here's why that target is so unbelievably important. That 186 grand, if you have it by age 40 and you just keep contributing a normal amount, say 10%, that alone could grow to over $2 million by the time you retire. That's the beautiful magic of compound interest. But it needs time, decades to do its work. Every year you delay is growth you can never get back. Now, If you've got kids or you're planning on having them, this one's for you. College costs are, frankly, out of control, and they're not slowing down. A 529 plan is an amazing tool designed for this exact problem. It lets your money grow completely tax-free for education expenses. And you don't have to start big. Even putting aside the cost of a few coffees a week can make a massive difference over 18 years. So, how do you manage all of this? Well, it brings us to another crucial milestone, actually having a comprehensive financial plan, a roadmap. A great way to remember the key parts is the acronym BRET. B is for budgeting, R is for retirement, E is for estate planning, T is for tax planning, and that final T is for tracking your progress. A plan like this means you stop just reacting to your money and you start proactively telling it where to go. So we've covered defense, we've covered offense. Now let's talk about the long game. These are the habits that protect your assets and sustain your wealth for a lifetime. These aren't just numbers to hit, these are the mindsets that are going to make all the difference in the world. Okay, we need to talk about the silent killer of wealth in your 30s. It's called lifestyle creep. You know what I'm talking about. You get a nice raise, you're all excited, and then somehow your expenses just magically rise to meet that new income. You're making more money, but you're not actually getting any wealthier. It just vanishes. So what's the secret weapon to fight this thing? It's one word: automation. It's so simple. Every single time you get a raise, before you even see the money in your account, automatically have at least half of that increase sent straight to your savings and investments. I promise you, you won't even miss money you never got used to spending in the first place. And your future self? Oh, they're going to thank you big time. Now, let's talk about an asset that your financial advisor probably never brings up: your health. Your health is without a doubt your single greatest financial asset. The choices you make right now about food and exercise will have a massive impact on your healthcare costs down the road. By investing in preventative care now, you can save a fortune later and have more money for the things you actually enjoy. And finally, two last essential habits. First, basic estate planning. I know it sounds morbid, but it's not. It's about making sure your loved ones are protected if something unexpected happens. It is truly one of the most loving things you can do for your family. And second, developing financial confidence. This doesn't mean you have to be a Wall Street genius. It just means understanding your own numbers and having systems in place so you can make decisions calmly without panic. Okay, deep breath. After all that, you might be wondering, what's my next move? Look, the point of all this is not to overwhelm you. It's to give you a roadmap, a checklist, so you can navigate this really complex decade with a clear sense of purpose. Now, it's time to turn all this knowledge into action. And here's the most beautiful thing about being in your 30s. You still have so much time to get this right. You have time to course correct. This is not about being perfect or hitting every single one of these milestones tomorrow. It's about progress, not perfection. Small, consistent actions are what build unstoppable momentum. You absolutely have the power to create the future you want. So the most important thing is to just start. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Just look at this list and pick one. Just one thing that you can start on this week. Maybe it's finally setting up a plan to tackle that last credit card. Maybe it's just opening that high-yield savings account you've been putting off. You could literally just spend 15 minutes calculating your net worth. The important thing is to start. So which one is it going to be?
Drop a money in the comments if you're committing to one money action this week. Tell me which lesson hit hardest: income, investing, or expense hacking. Let's build together.